radio station, and I started noticing that the people who drove the nicest cars were the salespeople. The people who made the most money were the salespeople. The people who went on to run the radio stations were not the disc jockeys. They were the salespeople, because this was a big surprise to me when I was 21 years old. The radio business isn't about Bon Jovi. The radio business is about selling advertising. So when I graduated from college, I took a sales advertising job at a radio station in Tupelo, Mississippi. And a small town radio station, and I drive into Tupelo, Mississippi with all my possessions in the back seat of the car. Walk into the radio station, and they say, "All right, son, welcome aboard. We got you a hot list ready for you to go get them." They tear me a page out of the yellow pages. Here you go. Go sell some advertising. They had zero training budget. They just turned you loose. But radio station is like, selling radio airtime is like selling vegetables at the grocery store. If you don't sell it, it goes bad. We got 18 minutes an hour, 24 hours a day, and when it's gone, it's gone. So what we ended up doing is we worked out a trade deal. We had all this excess airtime. We didn't have a budget for training, but we had trade. So we traded some excess airtime for some training at the local Dale Carnegie class. So every Tuesday afternoon, I would go into my Dale Carnegie class, and our instructor was a former Marine drill sergeant named Sims Reeves. He was a retired guy.
Hoorah!
Hoorah! I'm 5'6" on my best day. He was about 6'5". He was a big guy. He was intimidating, and he was enthusiastic. And you better get enthusiastic. So he would call us in. His favorite Dale Carnegie quote was, "Act enthusiastic, and you'll be enthusiastic." So every Tuesday when we went in, everyone would have to stand up. So stand up, everybody. Up. Sims would walk to the room and said, "Act enthusiastic, and you'll be enthusiastic." So repeat. Act enthusiastic, and you'll be enthusiastic. And Sims would say, "That's not enthusiastic enough." One more time, so they come in and yell, "Act enthusiastic, and you'll be enthusiastic." Hoorah! Now I do that for a couple reasons. One, because y'all look all kind of silly. Did they call the police? We good? I do that to show you how easy it is to get enthusiastic and get motivated. Look around. Everybody's smiling, everybody's laughing, having a good time. Motivation is easy. No problem. The problem with motivation is it doesn't last. Motivation is a depletable asset. The more you use it, the less you have. And motivation will always fail you at the exact moment you need it most. Because you ran out of motivation. So what you going to do then? So what I try to do, what I'm working on, is develop something that works better than motivation. Something that's going to work for you when you don't have any motivation. And I have a vocabulary word for you. Automaticity. Automaticity. Automatic eating. Now, the first I got a degree in English from Tennessee Tech, but the first time I ever heard this word, I had to go look it up because I had no idea what it meant. Automaticity, the ability to get things done without the higher level thinking required, as if by habit or routine. Because we spend half of our lives on autopilot. I was doing a radio interview a couple weeks ago, and the guy asked me, he said, what's the difference between a habit and a routine? Because routine, that just sounds like ordinary, average, everyday stuff. Which side you put your peanut butter on, which side you put your jelly on, how do you tie your shoes. That's just your routine, which way you drive to work. Habit sounds like it's important stuff. That's ingrained in, that's hardwired. But they are exactly the same thing, habits and routines, because we spend half our lives on autopilot. You didn't think about how to get to work this morning, you just drove. You didn't think about how to sit down and tie your shoes, you just sat down and tied your shoes because that's the way you've always done it. We work on autopilot because we don't have time to think about all the things that we have to get done. So we work toward developing automaticity so that things happen automatically. And I wrote the book, Better Self-Help for the Rest of Us, and I'm going to give a copy of this away as a door prize today, so make sure you get your business card. But before I wrote the book, I started making some changes in my life. I'd lost a little weight, I started exercising every day, I'd improved my business, and I had a buddy come to me, and he says, Terry, you should write a book. I said, man, I ain't going to write a book. I said, well, I said, think about it. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book, right, and I'm going to call it How to Lose 100 Pounds and Make $1 Million. Only thing I got to do first is I got to lose 100 pounds and make $1 million. Now, I haven't done either one of those things, but I still wrote the book. Because if you go on Amazon today, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of books that are some variation of how to lose 100 pounds and how to make $1 million. Because that's an easy sell. That's marketing 101. Concentrate on what you want. Put the big picture out there. And they use this big prize, losing 100 pounds and making $1 million, six-pack abs, perfectly white teeth. They use that as a prize, to motivate you to do the actions that they want you to take. So, but again, motivation doesn't last. And motivating yourself to pursue some impossible dream is about as effective as trying to teach a cat to fetch. It's only going to irritate the cat and frustrate you. Your cat fetches?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I've said that line a million times. I've never seen anyone whose cat fetches.
She's like that puppy.
No, well, there you go. But other than that cat, yeah, this is the way to go. So the book is about giving up the pursuit of perfection and being who you are better. Starting where you are, one step at a time, and getting better. So what I want to do today is teach you a 5-step system toward building better habits. Any habit that you want to create, there's only 5 steps that you get. We were talking about routines a minute ago, and a habit and a routine are exactly the same thing, down to the way computer programmers use the word routine. A routine is a subset of code that tells the computer to do exactly one thing. If this, then that. And that's all a habit is. So today, 5 steps to learn any new habit. And the first step is to start small. Because if you're trying to reach out here and lose 100 pounds or make $1 million, you can't develop that habit because you're going to get frustrated along the way and you're not going to repeat it. It's unovercomable. You can't get there. And so you don't repeat it enough to build a habit. So the first step towards habit creation is to start small. You can't get where you're going unless you start where you are. The second step toward creating a habit is the if-then. Just like in a computer program, if this, then that. So I call this the if-this alarm. Now just like when your alarm clock goes off in the morning, the alarm goes off and you jump up. Now depending on what your habit is, you either put your feet on the floor, get up, and embrace the day, or you roll over and you hit the snooze button. And what you do every day becomes your habit. And if your habit is to hit the snooze button 2 or 3 times, then that is the habit. But the alarm goes off. So one of the habits I'm working on is I do a plank every day. Now a plank sounds, it can take a minute, it can take 30 seconds, it can take 2 minutes. It's a simple exercise, and you can get it out of the way. And anybody's got time to do one plank. So I do one plank every day. That's my routine. My alarm, I wanted to do it first thing in the morning. I wanted to get it done. I wanted to get it out of the way. So the trigger that I use to do my plank every day is every morning when I'm making a cup of coffee. I know I'm going to make a cup of coffee because I'm addicted to caffeine. There's no chance that I'm going to leave the house without having a cup of coffee. So every morning when I make my cup of coffee, I drop to the kitchen floor and I do a 2-minute plank. Right there, right then. Because that's the second key, is to find the trigger and link your habit to an action that you already take. The third step is the then-that routine, whatever the routine is. If you want to do a plank, if you want to do a push-up, if you want to make one cold call, if you want to send one thank you note to your clients, if you want to make one customer service call, pick a routine that's so small that you can't not do it, a goal that is impossible to not meet. So pick a small goal, and that will be your then-that routine. Now, the good thing about computers is you can tell computers if this, then that, and they will do it 1,000,000 times a second. They'll do it when you're not there. They'll do it all day. They'll do it till they're unplugged. We don't work like that. We're petulant little children. First of all, we want to know why. And if we're going to eat all our vegetables, we want a cookie. We like rewards. We're not going to do something just because somebody told us to. Some guy stood up here in a suit and said, I need to do a plank every day. No, we need a reward. And because the reward is what creates the habit. Just like a junkie. They're only junkies, they're only addicts because they got that little burst of serotonin in their head that makes their head think, man, I really like that stuff. Whatever that stuff is. If it's heroin, if it's donuts, if it's running a mile, when you get the happy juice in your head, you like that stuff, and you're going to do whatever it takes to get more of that stuff. But the good news is, too, you don't have to have heroin or donuts to get that release in your head. You can stand up and act a fool for 1 minute, and you get that same little burst. You get a big smile on your face. So you need to reward yourself every time you complete your routine. Now, the reward can be as simple as sticking your hands in the air going, winner, winner, chicken dinner. You're going to smile. You're going to get a little burst of happy juice in your head. Your brain is going to recognize, I like that stuff. And the next day, it's going to look for another opportunity to find you that stuff. One of the rewards we all like best is checking off something on our to-do list. So there's no greater satisfaction than having a to-do list and marking it off one at a time. So that can be your reward, is checking it off, because the fifth step toward creating a habit is repeat. Do it over and over and over and over again. There's something called the Jerry Seinfeld technique. It comes from the comedian Jerry Seinfeld. And he's a prolific writer. He writes jokes every day. And he had a comedian ask him one day, a young comedian starting out, said, man, sometimes I'm just not in the mood. I'm not feeling it. What do you do? How do you write so much? And Jerry says, first, this is work. I have to do this every day. So Jerry Seinfeld had a giant year-at-a-glance calendar, and he put it on his desk. And every day he would sit down and write a joke. And when he'd write a joke, he'd put a big red X on that day. And the next day when he'd write a joke, he'd put a big red X on that day. And he'd repeat, and he'd repeat, and he'd repeat. Every X would be a little burst of happy juice in his head, and he'd repeat it. And you, after a while, you'll do anything to not break the streak. One of my habits is running. I started running on December 1st of 2014. I decided I was going to run just a little every day. And I run so slow, buzzards follow me home just in case they get lucky. But I run every single day. Today will be, because I didn't get a chance to run, when I get home this afternoon, I'll run again. It's a beautiful, sunshiny day. It will be my 436th day in a row running. Woo-hoo! So I've got homework for you. I want everyone to think of one thing you can do in your personal life, in your business, that you can accomplish today, that you can do tomorrow, that you can do the day after that you can do every day to start building a habit, to start building a lifestyle that you want to lead. Maybe you want to do a plank, maybe you want to run every day, maybe you want to send out a thank you card to your customers. Whatever it is, pick one idea so small that you can't not do it. Find a trigger that you can link that to that happens every day so that you know you'll have an alarm to get that done. And then think about the reward that you're going to give. Putting your hands in the air and waving them like you just don't care. Whatever it takes. And I've got a worksheet. It's called the 10-day Build a Streak worksheet. So it's got the if, then, this, that, and the reward, the alarm on there. Fill it all out. And there's a 10-day checklist. Get you a red marker and mark it off there. And whatever it takes.